It's not a fancy video, no fancy edits, no nothing. I just wanted to send a quick message to teachers all over the world. I've been getting a lot of emails lately from teachers that are either just starting out or at a new school, or they're student teaching, and their first week, their first 2 weeks have gone all wrong. And this video is not meant to sort of damn you in any way or discourage you, but rather encourage you. My thought is that, I went to the gym tonight, which is why I have sad Reynolds hair, and these glasses on aren't even real. I was at the gym and I was thinking about all these emails and all these email videos that I've been sending back to people. How unfortunate it is that someone would take a job, they would work for well below what they're worth in a lot of places, and then they would have to walk into a school where they didn't feel cared for, they didn't feel respected by the staff, the teachers, or the kids. They were put in inadequate classrooms with inadequate supplies. They were given 6 different classes to teach. 6 different, like biology, ecology, math, and so on. How they oftentimes were not given curriculums when they walked into the school. They were not even told what classes they were teaching until the day before school started. So you can't even plan a syllabus or a seating chart. Who have to push a cart around from place to place, or they don't even have a cart. All their belongings go in a backpack that they carry around from place to place all day. And then I just get emails like, maybe I made a bad decision. Maybe this was the wrong choice. Maybe I should have never signed up for this. Like, what did I think I was doing? I had a job before this that paid me comfortably. Maybe I should have just stayed there. And then I get folks that ask me, what should I do? Like, should I continue teaching? So this is what I have to say about that. I guess I would say, why did you get into the job to begin with? Was it because you really love the content? Was it because you really love the kids? Was it because you have this natural connection with children? Was it just because you loved Latin or math or English or science? And remind yourself of why you got into it. I think the second thing to remember is that teaching is a skill, and like anything else that you ever would have done in your life, it is a skill. If you took piano lessons for a week, or drum lessons, or tennis lessons, and you didn't do well, you wouldn't just give up, right? You know that there's a learning curve, that even though you went to school for this, like learning how to be a teacher in the classroom is like learning how to swim in a classroom. And so oddly enough, for some reason, over drinks this summer, I got this idea with some friend said, hey, you should be in a triathlon. And I said, yeah, I should. And even though I haven't ridden a bike since I was 18 because I don't have a DUI, and I haven't really ever swam my life except to save my life or with a surfboard. I don't swim. So like I had to learn all of these things this year, and I didn't even run until I was 35, but I had to train all summer. And you know what? Now that's the end of the summer, I missed the race. I didn't have what it took. I did not give myself enough time to train and to get better at what I was doing. And I could swim in a pool, but that didn't mean I could swim in the ocean, right? Like swimming in the pool is like tame. You can control everything. You can see the little line underneath where you're swimming. You know where the end of it is. Swimming in the ocean is like, in New Jersey, it's like swimming in a moat somewhere. So I failed, and it felt like crap, and I felt like I didn't achieve what I set out for. But you know what? I trained, and I got better, and I got better, and I got healthier, and I'm more ready now to go into actual training for a triathlon than I was at the beginning of the year. Plus I bought those bike shorts, the real tight ones, like you look like Lance Armstrong riding around. You know you're committed when you ride around town in those Johns. I think the other thing to remember for teachers that are dealing with toxic teachers, I made a whole video on this, I'll link it up here, about dealing with toxic teachers. You don't have to be who they are. If you are nuts, if you're crazy, if you're silly, if you're wild in class, if you have great ideas, you should 100% go ahead and do those things and not worry about what other people think. You will then become known as the crazy, weird, wild teacher, and you'll be left alone. This is my whole life. You do enough weird stuff and people go, like when I pull stuffed mice down the hallway with a piece of fishing string just to make school a little bit more fun, somebody might yell, but then when they see that it's me, it's like, oh, it's Reynolds. There he goes again, pulling stuffed mice down the hallway because he's like a 10-year-old. But you just will become known as that. But if you're young and you get in trouble for some of the things that you want to do because you want to make school a great place for kids, then maybe that's not the school for you anyway. What you need to realize is that not all kids have learned how to deal with the anger, the fear, the anxiety, the disability maybe that they have, whether that's the inability to sit still, maybe they have dysgraphia, maybe they're dyslexic, maybe they don't even know that they have some of these things like executive processing disorder, or that they're high on the autism spectrum. These kids are dealing with more than what we know. And sometimes their folks are tuned into this and they know, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes their parents are struggling to figure it out as well. But you have the opportunity to be there and to sit with that kid, to help them work through whatever it is they're working through, to empower them by giving them an education, giving them a voice, giving them a place where they feel like they can be themselves. Maybe the best compliment I've ever gotten from someone was a former student of mine's mom. I was out to dinner with friends. She happened to be at the same place. She stopped me, and before she left, she said, "Reynolds, when I look at your Instagram account, what I see is boys who have often had to grow up too quickly being allowed to be boys again." And that is one of the nicest things that someone has ever said to me. And I never even thought of my class as being that space, but maybe it is. Maybe she's right. And that can be your class as well. You can be the space that those kids so desperately need. Now, that doesn't mean that when you show up on Monday morning that it's all going to be gone, that like your level of caring is going to like wash over them. They have not been waiting for you. Teachers, these kids have not been waiting for you. They're not sitting there like some of these organizations will tell you, like they have been just longing for the right teacher, or at least they don't know it yet. But if you stick around, if you put in the work, if you keep trying to get to know them, keep trying to help them, if you teach not only to the kids that want to learn and give your attention not only to the kids that demand it with their bad behavior, but you teach that kid in the middle, that kid that feels so forgotten, that no one's ever paid attention to her in her life, you can be the person that reaches that child. I mean, you can be the teacher that you always wanted to be. Just don't give up yet. Just hang in there. And maybe you get to the end of the year and you're like, you look back at this and you're like, Reynolds is an idiot. Why would I stick around? I apologize if that was the case, but I just think if you remember that you got into this job, not just for you to do something in this world, but for you to uplift someone else, to reach out to someone else, to help someone else. You can be that for kids. You can be the teacher you always needed when you were young, and you can be the teacher you always wanted to be. So tomorrow when you go to school, roll up there like you know what you're there for. And remember, school's a lot like a street fight. You're gonna get punched in the face a few times, but after you do, just give them a smile and let them know that you're not going anywhere, that you're here for a reason, and that reason are the kids. You can do this. Peace.